Hello everyone, and today you are listening to our new episode about how to start the payment orchestration, and I would like to announce my co-host Dumitru Condrea, and we're going to dive deep into this topic today.
Hello to everyone. Nice to see you, Igor, once again. Yes, today's topic is a very, very, very important topic because nowadays we see the increasing number of startups and products regarding payment orchestration. A lot of payment service gateways that appears and provide new features. So absolutely great topic. And you already understood that my co-host is Igor Tomych. And today we will discuss about this super good and super interesting topic. I'll tell you a secret. We tried 3 times to record a video about this topic, but all the time we thought no, we will keep it. We'll postpone it for better times. And today the time arrived. So Igor, let's start with what do you think is the motivation for people to create such startups or companies to develop this kind of products like payment orchestration platforms?
Yeah, I would start with the distance because we discussed this before. I'm thinking what is happening on the market? Is it growing as a market, as a total volume of the transactions digitally, or that's a reconfiguration? Certain players are losing the market, and that's why new players are coming and trying to chase for this volume and market share. And I think it's the first one because if you imagine yourself using or being the customer in the physical world or online, it was totally different. 15 years ago, there were a few players who are providing the functionality for acquiring. And I think that's a really fast-growing market because everything becomes digital right now. You are getting invoices from your office space in digital, and they're looking to have it paid in real time. So I think the whole idea why we can see a lot of payment orchestrations, because everyone understood that cash flow is important, and having it in real time with the visibility for the customer and for the merchants is really important. That's why the market is growing, the need of the real-time transaction processing is growing, and what is importantly, we would like, and as a market, we really want to cover different needs of the clients. It means that we can provide the payment methods and the ways how to initiate the payment, which is convenient for the customer.
In my mind, beside this needs, there is a very big need internally for businesses. Financial management is crucial in fintech. I all the time I'm saying that we have basically 3 pillars. One is technical team, second one is financial team, and third one is analytics. But for financial team, it's very important to avoid monkey job, to avoid doing settlements, for example, manually each day. And for those who are working in e-payments, e-commerce, they know that settlements T+5, for example, can be quite a lot. Having T+0, T+1 settlement reports and settlement paying is a huge competitional advantage. And to have this, you need payment orchestration. You need tools from payment orchestrations. Beside the good onboarding of a customer, beside the good onboarding of a merchant, absolutely. Or if you work with buy now pay later systems, it's also very important to have payment orchestration because you have to understand that you have different baskets. From someone every day you have users that are paying the installments, and each day the installments are different, and how to process those installments, how to tokenize those installments, how to make settlement reports for those installments, and it's a huge amount of work. So I think also that when I spoke with guys from the market, mostly everyone told me that at the beginning for payment orchestration was the business need, internal business need to make the life of financial team easier.
Maybe I will highlight a little bit from the payments methods because yes. Imagine I'm a customer, I'm going to the website and I would like to buy something online. And before that, you potentially have an invoice which you need to download, then go to your branch and pay for this installment and then get something delivered to you. And I think by using the networks like Visa, MasterCard, it got much easier. But once again, the price is a really important question because it's always the balance between real time and the price for this processing. And that's why the methods are evolving. naturally, I think merchants would like to decrease the cost of each transaction and actually the fee for this transaction. Because if we're using, let's say, networks, card networks, it's really straightforward. So you have a customer, they put in the card, and then you're acquiring a specific amount from the customer. But that's why we see a rise of the alternative methods, like Blik in Poland. It allows for the customers to do it quicker and sometimes even cheaper.
Yes, that's correct. And I was thinking that, by the way, alternative payment methods can help companies to increase their acceptance rate, the third pillar. And when you're orchestrating internal needs, like absence of monkey job for financial team, internal needs like increasing the acceptance rate, then using of alternative payment method can because using, for example, Apple Pay or Google Pay can increase significantly, will increase the acceptance rate for your digital goods or physical goods you're selling online. And it's absolutely amazing how you can use this. But for this, you need a entire infrastructure. And I observed that a lot of people don't make the difference between payment orchestration platform, payment service gateway, and payment service platform. So PSP, PSG, and payment orchestration, POP. What's in your opinion? What's the difference between PSP/PSG with payment orchestration platform?
I think it's coming from my engineer experience because, first of all, if we're talking about the payment gateway, it's something that is working with a full financial information. It means that it can use the full PAN, it can store, usually it's PCI DSS compliant, etc., etc. So even from the technology standpoint, it differs because it doesn't provide high-level abstraction. It works with the really low-level financial information. And quite subjectively, in my understanding, usually it's pretty straightforward to specific methods. Like we're working with the cards. And then we provide as PSG, we're providing a specific way to tokenize those cards or get the payments from those cards, but we are really straightforward. And if we're talking about payment orchestrations, they integrate in with the different payment gateways and then smart routing and utilizing the advantages of those payment gateways depending on the configuration and where the client is coming on. Like one of the maybe case that we did at Dash Devs, it was IL Pay in Dubai, and it's kind of payment routing or payment orchestration platform for travel tech. And the issue with the travel tech is pretty neat because you have a customer who might be, I don't know, in Bulgaria. And then this person is traveling to Egypt and you have the HODL, which is expecting the payment in the local currency. But then the payment gateway, not in Egypt and not in Bulgaria. So you have another point and the currency might be different. So in this case, we built pretty cool engine, which is utilizing third-party gateways to understand what is the country of the customer by location, by BIN number, by additional information, and then doing this really smart settling to match the currency, which is the final HODL is expecting. And it's kind of seems to be straightforward, but I haven't seen a lot of examples with this way of smart routing and smart checkout and smart processing for the payments because the differences and even FX for the different currencies is making a lot of fees. So that's once again the real-time processing, the smart routing and decreasing the fee, and then basically benefiting for all the stakeholders in this three-point orchestration.
I will say that not all the time. So exists situation when by purpose, people are not, try to avoid to simplify the flow. It's because of anti-fraud or risk engine. Sometimes it's good for the business, exist cases when it's good for the business to maybe to have a little bit of low acceptance rate, but to filter the traffic and not to blow up your terminals.
I haven't seen from the business perspective the term like we have too many customers, but I'm with you. So in this case, it's always the parameter like what is our risk appetite and what we allowing to do, and then how much fraud or ML detection we should do post payment. But coming back to your question, like what is your view in the difference for the payment gateway and payment orchestration platform?
Grosso modo the same. What you said, I will add to what you mentioned already, is payment service, PSP, PSG are more concentrating on building the processing side, increase the possibility to work with high load. So basically giving advantage of processing millions and millions of transactions per second without any losses. But payment orchestration platform as a cornerstone is the API first approach.
But they all have APIs nowadays, I would say.
Yes, totally agree. But for me, when maybe this is coming from my perspective and my experience. When I'm playing the role of product owner for building PSP, this is on my third list of priorities, the API.
Yeah.
First two priorities are totally different. How the code is written. Mm-hmm. It's easy to understand or not. It's not simplified, but it runs like with microservices. How the Docker is working as an example, and so on. Second thing, what's very, very important for me is high load, because high load can be a huge bottleneck. And yes, it's better not to spend so much money on the bottleneck if you're at the beginning, on high load if you're at the beginning, but you can insert in the code some possibilities that in future to scale up this. And only for me as a product owner, the third is API. When I'm product owner for payment orchestration platform, API first for me. This is just my personal approach. This is why I mentioned it.
And I think let's add a little bit levels. PSP, in my understanding, is something which is focused to solving the business case.
Yes.
Like we would like to provide a checkout for buy now, pay later in Romania. Let's say that's a PSP. And if we're talking about payment orchestration platform, as a digital platform, we would like to provide convenient APIs for settling through the different payment methods. And as a payment gateway, the low-level APIs, which are not abstraction for the business. So sometimes they don't have a customer, sometimes they don't have even the level of the order. What you're doing is actually you're taking certain payment methods, you are tokenizing or not tokenizing it, and then doing the acquiring for the specific amount. So there is no abstraction as a business or abstraction as a technology, like for the orders and for the customers. And by combining those three components, we can maybe put it into the line. So the most low level, technically, it's payment gateway. Then you have something which is sitting on top, which is payment orchestration platforms like Stripe. They definitely payment orchestration. They have own payment gateway for processing cards, but they collect in hundreds and hundreds of different payment methods, like, I don't know, WeChat, different Chinese payment methods, but not implementing themselves. They utilizing the payment gateways. And then you have PSPs who are solving the business case. So you are coming, I don't know, to TWISTO as a PSP for settling with the buy now, pay later, rather than the alternative payment methods with a lot of different payment gateways.
Yes, and we arrived to the topic to the moment when I see that there are differences, how people are seeing and considering what means a PSP, PSG, and payment orchestration platform. In my discourse before this moment, I was all the time mentioning PSP/PSG or PSG/PSP, because for me both are almost the same. Exists difference, I agree. Quite close. But POP is an aggregator of PSPs, PSGs, plus. Yeah. You now, from more technical perspective, mentioned that these are three total different, mostly three different things, and putting PSP as a highest point of
business solution,
because it's a business need. Yeah, we have to remember one thing. No matter how, and I'm telling this also to my team right now, repeating the same thing. No matter how good you are, how good coder you are, no matter how good architect you are, you can build, great things. But money goes first. Business needs go first. You can build the greatest technical product in the world, with the greatest design, with everything great. But if you cannot sell this, or you spend so much time and money developing this perfection, and you now cannot take money back for return of investment is it's low, then it's absolutely unusable. So it's very important from technical point of view. I'm doing this because yesterday I had this discussion with my team. So if guys you are seeing this, remember once again, technical thing technical perfection goes on the second place because business needs.
Yeah, exactly.
This is why Igor, which is a technical guy coming from technical perspective, he's also saying that business needs is important, and this is why PSP is on the.
And I
top of
think
the list.
another level, which is slicing the problem quite in a good way, is that actually the payment gateway is not licensed. So
Yeah.
that's a difference because PSP usually hold the license in the specific region, and actually it's certified by, let's say, we are processing cards, and then the PSP is certified with the card network, but they can utilize the technology from the payment gateway, and gateway might not even not hold the license in the specific region.
Yes. Well, there is a single license for PSP
Yeah.
and PSG is AOC
Yeah.
from PCI DSS. That's it. What you get from auditor, which is not so hard to do. I mean, technically, if you know your job, and I know guys that are doing. By the way, I know guys who can do the receive AOC letter for PCI DSS like in a month.
But that really depends on the your state of the technology. Because
Yes.
if it's properly designed from the scratch, you are utilizing approach in the software engineering to make sure then it enables the PCI DSS compliance. That definitely is true. But what I would like to a little bit go back to the topic, like how to start the payment orchestration business. And like we sliced different levels. We talked a little bit about the market and the need, but why people are starting and what is important to make sure that you have in your business process and you are understanding to be successful as payment orchestration platform.
Payment, from my perspective, and this is why I was mentioning in the beginning, is the internal business needs.
Yeah.
So, or it's you want to scale your company, you scale your processes, or you want to increase your margin, or you want, by increasing margin means optimizing the resources and not spending time on monkey job, or maybe you want to sell better products, be more competitive. Orchestration platform has a very important thing, and you mentioned this when you were saying about Stripe, is finding good acquirers, finding good payment methods, integrate them in one single thing, and sell it as one single API outside. So the needs, in my perspective, the needs is business scaling, margin, very important thing, and give you the freedom of know what's happening with your balances.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are a lot of companies, and for those who are not in fintech, maybe this will be a surprise, but a lot of fintech companies which are working with not payment service gateways, but companies that are like financial companies, non-banking financial companies, they're struggling with settlement reports. They're struggling to know how much money they have currently. It's quite strange, but this is the one of the biggest problem we have on the market. And payment orchestration platform that only helps you to integrate quickly with different payment methods. It's one thing, but if you have in payment orchestration, you have invoicing module, you have anti-fraud module with bin service, with everything. Yeah? You have automatization of settlement reports, or at least semi-automized, because you at least have to check it somehow manually, but at least generation of this. Automatization of monitoring and alerts regarding, for example, acceptance rates. This can just help your business, and you as the owner or CTO or CEO of a company, you can basically cut a half of a day just staying and monitoring without doing anything. Because I know how a lot of CEOs, CTOs, something like 4 hours per day with their financial teams, they are checking the settlements, they are doing the settlements and doing everything manually. And a salary, 1 hour of work for CTO, CEO, or someone from C-level costs a lot of money. And imagine it's 4 hours per day, 3 hours per day for 2 or 3 people on C-level per day. Per month, it's a huge number. So basically, a half of the time of your CFO, a half of the time of your CEO, a half of the time of your CTO per month goes for monkey job. So when I had a discussion several weeks ago with a person who is an owner of a startup, And he was telling me that, well, they don't have sufficient money for building orchestration platforms and so on. I was like, dude, you don't understand. I mean, it's now you don't have money. Later, you will don't have it all, because this is very important. And he was giving me an example. Like, for me right now, it's much easier to do this monkey job, because he basically do the approach of buy now, pay later. So it's like paying by installments. For him, it's much easier right now to pay by installments, knowing that he's spending a lot of money on monkey job of his CTO, CFO, and so on, than to invest a big money now in payment orchestration platform. But I was happy that at the end he agreed, and he understood that like he has to somehow to find cash reserves to build a payment orchestration platform.
And I'm approaching this a little bit different. The question is not that you're doing monkey job, but when you burn in the budget, how it will affect your platform and your business in future. And I would say like those hours, they not affecting something in the future at all. So the question is, if you do this job 4 months and then suddenly you stop, like nothing new happened, there is no new automation, new functionality. So I think the level and how business should think in this approach is, what do we do right now to decrease our efforts in future? And instead of like doing maybe manually reports, how we can build the automation, how we can build proper, matching. Because sometimes in financials, what I see from my experience, it's not the question that you don't have an information. You have an information for automation. But what is done differently, that when the system were designed and the data flow were designed and the business flow were designed, it was as a separate, isolated pieces which cannot be traced. Like you cannot understand, like with the buy now, pay later, it's pretty straightforward. Example, you have a customer and this customer is checking out something with the buy now, pay later. And you might have the installment, like a first payment. You might have 2 other installments pending, but then in real time, you cannot understand what is paid balance, what is the outstanding balance, and what are the fees that are going to be triggered on the specific time. And then everyone is chasing, okay, what do we have? What do we outstanding amounts? If we are, providing some discount for faster payment for the installments right now, what is going to be the final balance? But the idea is not to rewrite the system, but sit and think, what should we have as a business flow for visibility and tracing different activities that we do right now manually? Because another example, if we have some kind of aggregated account with IBAN payments, there might be a certain person who is checking on the payments on the daily basis and then manually saying, okay, that's a customer A who is paid for the installment B, and it's happening in a manual way. But there is always an automation, like Wise is doing. They introduced the customer ID, and instead of just waiting for the payment and the manual matching, there is automated matching, because we just ask our clients to send a customer ID. And a lot of mistakes on this area is done vice versa. Like you have a customer, and certain companies are adding the invoice ID instead of the customer. And what is happening? The customer is aggregating 2 installments, they add in 2 IDs, and it doesn't work because the system cannot match. So what I'm trying to say here, it's not even about the efforts, it's about the knowledge and understanding and playing in your head the cases and tracing the information. And sometimes it doesn't cost money. It's just to sit down to understand what you're trying actually to solve. And there are usually a lot of ways to do it nicely by thinking, but not just without thinking, doing the same job for days and days and days. And I really value this in engineers. I think that's when the good developer is becoming really good business solver, when the person saying, like, I'm stuck writing silly, dumb code which is fixing certain issue. Let's think about what is the root cause of those issues. Like why we cannot match 2 different invoices if the customer is sending them in bulk, like in one payment. We cannot match, we cannot split the amount, especially if the total amount for those 2 invoices is different. And then those person can say, okay, can we trace please the customer ID? Because then I can see the total outstanding balance, and then whatever is coming, I'm deducting, we see the outstanding balance, we know that, okay, something is still owed to us, but it's working much better. No one from financial team or engineering team spending time fixing those imaginary issue, which is a lack of the thoughts before execution.
Totally agree. Well, you in everything you said before, you were mentioning different actors and different, I call this target groups. And I thought, like, I think it'll be great for us also to discuss and touch the topic: who mostly needs the payment orchestration platforms? Merchants, acquirers, or the business itself. I know that all of them, but who needs more? In my opinion, I'm keeping my idea that the most important, those who need it mostly is the business itself. I'm from operational side and management, general management side of a fintech. So for me, margin is very important. For me, operations are very important. And because of this, I'll put in the cornerstone the business itself. And in addition, the bonus is scaling up, giving good products to your merchants, help your merchants to see real life balance and to see the acceptance rate, to see everything. But from your perspective, because here I see that we have two different perspectives.
I think the same, because in the end of the day, the final user of those alternate methods, faster settlement, real-time overview of the balance, is business. Like as a business, I don't know, I have a huge e-commerce online, and the biggest need is to have the most convenient pay for the customers to pay, the most visible or the most transparent process for my financial team, because I don't want my team to be burdened with the manual settlements through the IBAN. Okay, the price is good, but then we're doing a lot of manual work. And at the same time, that's a fee. That's the cost of this process. Because during the discussion, I wanted to talk and maybe touch the topic. Like, if you remember, there was a moment when the Brexit happened, and there is Amazon UK. And at this stage, MasterCard said that since UK is leaving EU, they cannot keep the pricing for the transaction processing for United Kingdom. And they pressured, if I'm not mistaken, to have the fee up to 1%, 1.5% for the settlement of the MasterCards for the Amazon. And that's a really good example when the whole approach is based on the payment orchestration, because Amazon said, okay, we will not process the MasterCard. So they kept their business running because they had the payment orchestration. It means that they're not dependent only on MasterCard APIs, because they have other methods to process the payments from the customers. Because in UK, then you can do faster payments, you can, I don't know, do the direct debit or whatever. And that's a good case when the fee is coming in, the fee is unbearable for the business, and then due to the proper usage of the payment orchestration, you're still able to collect, but then you're coming into the really tough but still negotiation with the MasterCard for the fee. So what do you think about this case?
I remember this case, yeah. Maybe I'm wrong, but as far as I know, they had a very big workaround with alternative payment methods like Google Pay and Apple Pay.
Yeah.
Beside the direct debit, which people
but
in
that's
UK
what I mean by alternative
yes,
methods.
yes.
So you kind of have a leverage in negotiation because you have other ways to process your payments with the customers. And if you locked in the simple integration with the simple payment gateway, and then they leveraging you, you're vendor locked.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit more. I'll open a bit the brackets here regarding the UK and the Brexit and the MasterCard. Amazon was not the single one.
Yeah, exactly.
We observed that after the Brexit, the majority of banks, the biggest banks in UK, moved mostly to Visa because of this.
Yeah.
So Amazon was like, okay, we understand the problem, but we are aware that we are not the single one. And wait a second, the banks, I think, have the same problem, and they will switch to Visa. So MasterCard, sorry, we honestly don't care till the end, because we have Apple and Google Pay, which can process you, and via Apple and Google Pay, we have lower fees. But yeah, 1.5 is quite a big fee. And like for MasterCard, it's really, really big fee. But yeah, they had this leverage. And yeah, it's good to have payment orchestration platform, because from the risk assessment perspective, you are not you just don't keep all the eggs in one single basket. And I understood, but by the way, only half a year ago, I understood that the motto of payment orchestration platform has to be laziness is the key of progress. Payment orchestration platforms is the platform for those who are smart and lazy. Usually those smarts are lazy because you start to think, what I have to do so I will spend in future less time and less work.
Yeah.
I'll drink more coffee, I know, just monitoring.
Watching P&L.
Watching P&L, telling everyone how the P&L has to look like and have to increase or decrease wherever. So payment orchestration platform is the best tool. So if you're a product owner or chief technical officer and you think you are lazy but very smart, propose this to your management, payment orchestration. And don't come with, it's important not to come with, let's do payment orchestration platform, build the bright future. Come with iterational features because payment orchestration platform has a lot of features, a lot of components which you can develop step by step separately. Like for example, if you have principality in Visa or MasterCard, you can build a bit better bill service.
Yeah.
Well, if you're not, well, it's another story, but so maybe it will help you to identify the errors. You can increase acceptance rate by 5-6%, which is wow sometimes on at least 100 million per month. 5% increase of acceptance rate is great.
It's really cool.
Yeah. So payment orchestration platform is very important, and this is a trend today. Even if not so many people understand that they are doing payment orchestration platforms because they just develop separate features without understanding that this is a part of payment orchestration platforms. And in one moment they realize like, wait a second, we are doing payment orchestration platforms. Yeah.
Okay, cool. I think we almost in the end of our episode today,
Yes.
and we are coming to our usual part or phase of our episode is discussing the book. So what you brings for us today?
Today, I will honestly recommend a book I never read, but I heard a lot of some of my friends mentioned about this book. I read some reviews of this book. So the book is called the Fintech book. The Financial Technology Handbook for Investors, Entrepreneurs and Visionaries. It was written by Susanne, Chishti, and Janos Barberis. So you can use I'm recommending for myself this book. So I'm recommending to all of you if you have time for this reading. What about you?
I think today for my side is pretty personal, and I really love this book. I've read it couple of times, and the book is called The Doomed City by brothers Strugatsky. It's an old one, and I think it stands out from their other books and their writing because it's more science fiction, and this one is more philosophical. I would say they're exploring the overall perception of yourself and humanity and what is the problem actually. And I think it really overlaps with the modern times because we kind of lost the base ground for our thoughts and how the world is working. And they explore in pretty neat trip of the specific person through the different phases. And I really highly recommend this book to read. And every time when I'm reading personally, I'm reading with a different level, like exploring and you're noticing the things that you haven't noticed before. And it kind of gives really, in one way, good vibe, but another way, really philosophical. Like as always, Strugatsky are doing the open end, and it's really fascinating. So I think at least once you should give it a try for this book and see the view on the philosophical side.
Great. We had a very interesting topic today. Thank you very much to all of you who you joined and listened us, watched us. We'll be very happy for your comments. Please leave comments and on all our social media. If you have top topics that you think we can develop, exploit, we'll be happy to hear your opinions. It was absolutely a pleasure to see you, Igor, here today. And see you next time on next episode.
Thank you so much. And I would like to thank you to all our listeners. Please subscribe, please share into the social networks. Please come to our comments and ask questions or comment. And we are looking forward to see you on the next episode.